I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. When I found out my husband secretly married another woman, I did something far worse. I went to their wedding. For 7 years, I believed I was married to a man who loved me. His name was Daniel. We met in college, one of those late-night study sessions that turned into coffee dates, which turned into weekend trips, which turned into forever. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He was calm, dependable, and safe. At least, that's what I thought. We married young. No extravagant wedding. Just close friends, family, and a quiet promise to build a life together. And for years, we did. Or at least, I thought we did. We bought a small house in a quiet neighborhood. We talked about kids someday. We argued over silly things, dishes, bills, his socks on the floor, but never about loyalty, never about trust. Because I trusted him completely. He worked in finance. Long hours, late meetings, client dinners, networking events. I never questioned it. I was proud of him. I believed in him. Looking back now, I realized trust wasn't our strength, it was my weakness. It started small. He stopped answering calls at night. At first, it was, "Sorry, babe, meeting ran late." Then, "Phone died." Then, "I'll explain later," but later never came. He started guarding his phone like it was classified information, took it into the bathroom, slept with it face down, changed passwords, flinched when I touched it. Still, I told myself, don't be that wife, don't be paranoid, don't be insecure. Until one night, he came home smelling like someone else's perfume. Not subtle, not faint, not maybe I imagined it. Strong, floral, expensive. I asked him. He laughed, probably from the office. You know how packed elevators are. I wanted to believe him, but something in his eyes shifted, not guilt, fear. And fear always tells the truth before the mouth does. I didn't want to become the woman who checks phones, tracks locations, or spies on her husband, but he didn't give me a choice. One night, while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed. I wasn't trying to snoop. I wasn't planning to open it. But the screen lit up with a message preview. "Can't he wait to be your wife?" My heart stopped. Not girlfriend, not partner, not fiancé, wife. I didn't open the message. I didn't need to. The shower turned off. I placed the phone back where it was and walked out of the room before he could see my face. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I didn't confront him. Because when someone is lying, confronting them only teaches them how to lie better. So I waited, and I watched. Over the next few weeks, I became quiet, observant. I noticed he started disappearing on weekends. He kept using the excuse of business trips. He avoided intimacy. He stopped saying "I love you" unless I said it first. One day, while cleaning out the garage, I found a small gift bag in the trunk of his car. Inside was a bracelet, gold, delicate, engraved. It said, "Forever starts today." My stomach dropped. That wasn't for me. Because Daniel had never given me jewelry, not once in our marriage. I searched the receipt. It was from a boutique I'd never heard of in a city 3 hours away. And the date? 3 months earlier. I decided to do something I'd never done before. I followed him. One Friday evening, he told me he had a weekend conference out of town. Packed a bag, kissed my forehead, said he'd call. I watched his car pull away. Then I waited 10 minutes. Then I got in my car. I followed him. He didn't drive toward the highway. He drove toward the city. The same city from the receipt. My heart pounded in my ears as I stayed several cars behind him. My hands shook. My mouth was dry. I didn't even know what I was hoping to find, maybe just proof I was wrong. But deep down, I already knew. He parked outside a modern apartment building. Not a hotel, not a conference center, an apartment. I watched as he walked up to the door. Then, another woman opened it. She was beautiful, tall, slim, long dark hair, dressed casually but effortlessly. She smiled when she saw him, and he smiled back. Not the polite smile he gave strangers, not the tired smile he gave me. This was warmth, relief, intimacy. She wrapped her arms around him. He kissed her, not a peck, A kiss. I sat frozen in my car. My chest burned, my throat closed, my hands clenched the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. But I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't storm out. I stayed, and I watched. I waited nearly an hour. Then, I walked toward the building. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I needed answers. Inside the lobby, there was a directory. I searched for his name. Nothing. Then I searched by her name, which I saw on the apartment door mailbox. There it was. Apartment 406. But next to her name was another name. Daniel Harper. My husband. Her husband. My world shattered in silence. Not girlfriend. Not fiancé. Not seeing each other. Husband. He hadn't just cheated. He had married her, while still married to me. Bigamy. Double life. 2 wives. 2 homes. 2 truths. And 1 lie. Me. I didn't confront him that night. I didn't knock on the door. I didn't call his name. I didn't expose him. Because something inside me changed. I realized something terrifyingly clear. This man didn't just lie. He didn't just cheat. He built an entire second life, which meant this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was intentional, calculated, and deeply cruel. So instead of reacting emotionally, I decided to think strategically. Because emotional reactions fade, but calculated actions change lives. I went home. I made dinner. I answered his texts like nothing was wrong. Conference going well? Miss you. Drive safe. He replied with lies, just like always. And I smiled, because I had a plan now. I started gathering evidence. Not sloppy screenshots. Not emotional accusations. Real proof. I hired a private investigator. I accessed public marriage records. I tracked hotel bookings, credit card statements, flight receipts, phone records. Over the next 2 weeks, I built a case, not just of cheating, but of fraud, deception, and bigamy. And then, I found something that made my blood run cold. They were planning a wedding, not a courthouse marriage, not something quiet, a full ceremony, a celebration, a public declaration. Their second wedding. One morning, I opened the mail. Among bills and junk flyers, there was a thick envelope, cream-colored, gold lettering, elegant, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Harper. My heart stopped. Because I was Mrs. Harper, I opened it. Inside was a wedding invitation. Daniel and Sophia invite you to celebrate their union. The date was 3 weeks away. The venue was a luxury hotel ballroom. Black tie, formal. My hands shook, my stomach twisted, but instead of rage, I felt something else, clarity. Because now, I didn't just know the truth. I had a front row seat to his lie, and I knew exactly how I was going to end it. I didn't cry. I didn't break down. I didn't throw anything. I sat at my kitchen table with the invitation in my hands and thought, if he can humiliate me in secret, I can expose him in public. Because people like Daniel don't fear private consequences. They fear public truth. And I wanted him to feel the same shock I felt, the same humiliation, the same destruction of identity. So I arrived, not as a guest, not as a supporter, but as his wife.
For the next 3 weeks I prepared. Not emotionally, logistically, legally, and strategically. I quietly consulted a lawyer, filed separation papers, and froze our joint accounts. I made sure to secure copies of everything. Our marriage certificate, their marriage certificate, financial documents, and all the proof of his deception. Evidence of bigamy. I also planned my appearance, not for vanity, but for symbolism. If I was going to end his second life, I was going to do it with dignity, with power, and with control. I bought a dress. Not white, not black, but red. It wasn't loud or revealing. It was elegant, strong, and unforgettable. The morning of the wedding, I woke up feeling surprisingly calm. Not angry, not sad, just calm. And that scared me more than anything. I did my hair, did my makeup, put on my red dress, and drove to the venue. The ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, white roses, soft music playing. Champagne was flowing and guests were laughing, celebrating what they thought was true love. I walked in, and of course, no one recognized me. Why would they? They thought he only had one wife. They had no idea there were two. I took a seat in the back and just waited, watching. And then, he walked in. My husband, looking sharp in a tuxedo, smiling, confident, completely relaxed. He looked like a man with absolutely nothing to hide. Behind him was Sophia. She looked radiant and so happy in her white gown. Her eyes were sparkling, and her smile was just pure joy. For a brief moment, I almost felt sorry for her, because she had no idea what was coming. The officiant began speaking about the sacred union of marriage. Daniel held her hands. She gazed at him, and he gazed right back. The guests were all smiling. I just sat there silently, waiting for the perfect moment. Because revenge isn't about being loud, it's about timing. And now, the officiant announced, if anyone here has any reason these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. That was my cue. I stood up. The entire room went silent. All eyes turned to me. I saw the color drain from Daniel's face. It wasn't confusion or curiosity. It was pure terror. I walked slowly toward the front, every step echoing, my heart thundering in my chest. I stood right beside the officiant, looked at Daniel, then at Sophia, and calmly said, I do. The room gasped. Daniel whispered, What are you doing here? I turned to Sophia, gave her a soft smile and said, Hi, I'm Daniel's wife. The silence was deafening. Sophia just blinked, confused. What? I reached into my purse and pulled out my marriage certificate. I married him 7 years ago. We are still legally married. The officiant froze. Daniel started stammering. This isn't, she's lying. So I pulled out their marriage certificate. Actually, I said, he married you too. The room just exploded. Whispers, gasps, phones being raised to record. Someone shouted. Someone else laughed nervously. Sophia looked at Daniel, pleading, Tell me this isn't true. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. There were no lies left for him to tell. Sophia's hands started to shake. Her eyes filled with tears. You told me you were divorced, she said. You told me she cheated on you. You told me you were free. He just stood there saying nothing. I watched her heart break in real time. And for the first time since I found out, I felt that pain again. Not for him. For her. She wasn't the villain. She was a victim, just like me. The officiant cleared his throat. I can't proceed with this ceremony. Guests started to leave, though some stayed for the drama. People were calling the police, filming everything. Daniel tried to speak to me. Can we talk? I shook my head. Not privately. I turned to Sophia and said, I didn't come here to hurt you. I came here to stop him. She looked at me, her voice trembling. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I replied quietly, because I wanted him to tell the truth in front of everyone. Minutes later, hotel security arrived, followed by the police. Bigamy is illegal. Fraud is illegal. Financial deception is illegal. Daniel was escorted out of his own wedding, not as a groom, but as a criminal. In handcuffs, with cameras flashing, completely shamed. I didn't smile or celebrate. I just watched. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. The story spread like wildfire on social media. My phone was blowing up. Friends, family, people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some praised me. Some pitied me. Some even blamed me. But I didn't care. I wasn't responsible for his lies. He was. I filed for divorce the very next day. Cleanly. Legally. I took my name back, my dignity back, and my future back. A week later, Sophia called me. She sounded broken. I didn't know, she swore. I swear I didn't know. And I believed her. Her pain was too real. We met, we talked, we cried, we compared our stories. The lies he told her were identical to the lies he told me. Same words, same excuses, same manipulation. He didn't just cheat. He mirrored us. He controlled us. He didn't love either of us. He loved the control. That's when I realized something terrifying. I wasn't just unlucky. I was targeted. He chose women who trusted, who gave, who believed. And then he exploited that trust. But what he never expected was that one of us would fight back. Not emotionally, not impulsively, but intelligently. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, or just want to follow my journey from here, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. See you in the next video.